Hello Zimbabwe and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network, and we are taking a look on controversial statements within ZANU PF cycles. Killer Zivhu seems to be at it again, and he's saying something very important. Two things from Killer Zivhu. Number one, he said the next president of Zimbabwe anengane mtupo wemofu, and a lot of people varikuti chiwenga mukanya. And what does that mean if Killer Zivhu view it like that, when Chiwenga is supposed to be is supposed to be the president after Zivhu Mnangagwa, according to ZANU PF succession plans? And right away, Killer Zivhu has also done something kudena, vakuru vari kudena, and he said something very important right here, which we can't ignore, because this shows the direction ZANU PF is taking at this point in time. He says, dish out jobs, not goats. This is something very important. Who is dishing out goats? It's Zivhu Mnangagwa together Nana Tate Mavetera. They are running shows to dish out goats. We know another goat scheme, irikusungirwa komana vakaba. And he says, vanodzidini mbudzi kune drought kudai. Graduate rofudza mbudzi here. Musadaro vana chokwadi vapei mabasa noise yose inopera iyi. So this is something very important. Let us talk about two things: jobs and goats. We need to talk about these things objectively and understand. Temba Maposa, how are you, my brother? Thank you very much for being here. We need to be objective on this whole issue and understand Killer Zivhu very well. Killer Zivhu is one of the people in Chivi South. He is making people have projects, real projects. Arupa maboats varikuenda kunoredza mutoke mkosi dam. He is empowering in that area, and the government is doing what should be done by councillors, what should be done by the MPs. Zviri kuitwa naMnangagwa ndo zviri kufanira kunge zvichiitwa nana Killer Zivhu. They are on the same level, because Killer Zivhu is giving fishermen boats for them to run fisheries, for them to do fishing in Tokwemkosi. Then there is another issue where you are seeing Mnangagwa giving goats. And if you are to take a look onto the levels of Mnangagwa and Killer Zivhu, Mnangagwa is the national president, and Killer Zivhu is a former MP. So you can actually see that what Killer Zivhu is saying makes sense. President Mnangagwa must focus on creating jobs, on making sure that jobs are created in the nation. And it seems as if Killer Zivhu is right. He is correct when he says, give them jobs, not goats. And also on another hand, if you take a look critically on the issue happening at this point in time, it's easy for me to buy a goat than for me to get a job. So if I get a job, I can buy myself goats. And if you go to the rural areas, there is no family without a goat. Just a few, maybe. There is no family without a goat, which means this goat scheme, you can't fork out 87 million and then give people goats when they don't have a market to sell those goats. The problem in Zimbabwe is not about having mbudzi kana kuti huku dzekutanga nadzo. The problem is about the market. You have those goats, where are you going to sell them? You have those chicken, where are you going to sell them? That is the issue at hand. So I agree with Killer Zivhu right there. There are a lot of opportunities in Zimbabwe, but the government is not forthcoming. The government is not coming to deal with that issue. But remember, Killer Zivhu has just returned to ZANU PF after a very long Sabbath. Akadzingwa because of the same utterances. Pakati vaMnangagwa navachamisa, maMnangagwa namaichamisa tauraini varume venyu vabatane nyika ifambe. He was fired from ZANU PF for that, and is coming back and seems to be criticizing Zivhu Mnangagwa. And let us take a look at the responses from ZANU PF. Zvikanzi hauna njere manje mdara iwe, commercial goat farming is worth more than a job. Commercial goat farming being done by donating goats like what Mnangagwa is doing will never sustain anything. Personally, I can have a goat project. I can sustain myself. We can have a situation where if the government wants to intervene, you bring makweme so that our breeding becomes better. This is how the government works. Not to say you are buying goats, 632,000 goats for the whole nation, and you are giving each chief 3 goats. Isisu muwadi medu from Mwenezi, we are under a chief called Chitanga. Chief Chitanga is commanding more than 5 wards, or around 5 wards alone as a man. He's commanding around 5 wards on his own, Chief Chitanga. So 5 wards, Muad Manguinini, whenever are registered to vote, around 4,000 to 5,000 registered voters in my ward alone. So if the chief is given 3 goats and those goats are rotating, how many years do we need for each and every villager to get a goat? How many months do we need? So if you take a look into these things, you can agree with Killer Zivhu to say what these men are doing is useless. What they are focusing on is something which will never save the people with anything. These goats are coming at inflated costs, $139 per goat. Mbudzi that will take $30, $139. So we can simply say 100 years yakabiwa yakajigiwa. That is the honest truth. So you can actually see that this is the reason why Zimbabwe is not progressing and Zimbabwe is not moving, because we have vana ZANU PF vacho vasingafungi. Zvikanzi mukoma pamunorohwa nekaso light munofunga bo, but panozorova mbanje munodomoka. Okay, zvikanzi goat meat is highly sought after in Middle Eastern market, leading to job creation and substantial revenue generation for our nation. Furthermore, goat skins are utilized in the production of leather goods. Let me respond to Baba Shona. Baba Shona is failing to understand a simple thing. 87 million could have partially funded the CSC. If you put 87 million in mbudzi, if you put 90 million yakabiwa kunasa, Mario yoyo yaigona kuita sustainer CSC kutitange kufunctiona. Which means isisu tinochengeta mbudzi zedu, we produce our own goats. Toendesa ku CSC. CSC is not looking to make profit, is doing there for sustenance. Saka varungobata ma costs avo of ekuti vakwanise kunge vachiita service provision. Then CSC goes to that Middle Eastern market with our meat from goats. Isisu mbudzi dzacho dzatiri kuchengeta tinodzitengesera kupiko. CSC is not working. Where are we going to sell those goats? We can't sell these goats to crooks who then go with them to the Middle Eastern market. We are not going to benefit anything from that. So you need to think about these things to say, what is going to make people benefit? Go to the point where Kotko was paying farmers very well. Farmers were making a lot of money from cotton farming. But right now, Kotko is failing and farmers are failing too. In the past, you could do farming, ukaita matanza ako echibage, you sell to JMB and make money. But right now, there is nothing to show out of it. So you can actually see that the agriculture system does not need for the government to come to subsidize anything. The government should provide a viable marketing solution only. Don't subsidize farming. Find a marketing solution which is convenient and which is profitable to the farmers. That is how you do with farmers. So you can actually see that a lot of people are missing the point of Killer Zivhu. A lot of ZANU PF people are missing a point. The issue is not about mbudzi na basa. The issue is about what is important. It's better to create jobs than to give people mbudzi, because people they can buy mbudzi for themselves. Mbudzi inoita $30. Basa ndikawana basa ndenjitambira 300 400 US. So I can buy myself goats. You see, this is the idea. So personally, I agree with Killer Zivhu and is exposing kudomoka kurikuitika ZANU PF. We are being led by people who know nothing. People who know nothing. Hanzi panapa apo wataura chokwadi Zivhu, but uchadamurwa musoro nemashefu ako cause chokwadi chocho havadi kuchinzwa. Ivo vanouraya pfungwa dzevanhu vokupa mbudzi $30, ivo vokubira mabillions kupusa. So this is it. Vanhu vezanu PF handizi kuti kudyiswa here kana kuti kuita sei. Millions are being looted. $100 is being looted at every goat. $100 looted at each and every goat. What are you getting? And how many people are getting these goats? So this is something very important point raised by Killer Zivhu. I want to tell you this, Team Zimbabwe. Ukaenda kumakome ekuchokwe mkosi, we could have seen after 10 years chokwe mkosi rapo, we could have seen massive construction of hotels. But those mountains, hapana chiri kuitika. Mumakome echokwe mkosi, they are flat to an extent ekuti you can have budiriro ikoko. Ma location ari mupamsoro pegomo. Nothing is moving. Why? It's because the government does not care. Imagine if they had sold stands in those mountains, hotels being built, small cities being built, a lot of activity happening in Chokwe Mkosi Dam. You could have seen tourism starting to happen. I can tell you, Team Zimbabwe, there is a lot which can happen Pamakome Chokwe Mkosi, but nothing is happening at this point in time because we have a clueless government in charge. Yes. But we are told those mountains were sold for a song to some dubious people. So they don't care about anything else. So personally, I do not know what you think, but I agree with my brother Killer Zivhu right here when it comes to this issue. Okay, Sadzaranaka says, please investigate equity. Is it correct to go and protest in Zambia at the ministerial meeting of SADC? We need to fight hard to stop ED from being SADC chairman in August. Please help. Let me say this, my brother. The chairmanship of ED is going to be determined by the SADC summit. The SADC ministerial committee is simply going to give a position so far. It's going to give a position so far based on the deliberations of the last summit paka discuss kanyaya Zimbabwe. Ndopa vachati nyaya Zimbabwe zviya zvatakawirirana taapapi. And they'll find a position from the findings dziripo. Vana Chamisa vakaisa ma-presentations avo, Zeki yakaisa ma-presentations ayo, ZANU PF yakaisa ma-presentations ayo. All those issues will be looked into by this SADC ministerial committee. They will look into it. They will also look into the resolutions which were made at the SADC summit. And also the secretariat will give a report on the position so far. They've already given a report on the position so far to the ministerial committees, and the ministerial committee will look into it. After looking into it, they will give their recommendations, but these recommendations are not final. SADC summit will sit, and the heads of states, they will agree on what to do with the issue of Zimbabwe. That is it. So if they agree to call Nelson Chamisa, that is what we want, which means the protest must be focused on to what is happening in Zimbabwe. So I know that there are people who are saying summit in Gaisachikam Zimbabwe. We don't want that. We need this summit to happen here in Zimbabwe, such that we re-register our displeasure. And we try by all means possible to see if we can force SADC leaders to bring Nelson Chamisa on board. And this is something very important because spiritually something has happened. And let us continue to pray for that to happen. Let us continue to pray for that to happen, that Nelson Chamisa is invited and is forced on Emmerson Mnangagwa. That is what we need to pray for, and that is what we need to push Patriota Summit. So those who are protesting in Zambia, it's their right. Let them do whatever they are doing. But as for me, I do not see any significance of it. We will have to protest here in Zimbabwe. Let us plan to protest heavily here in Zimbabwe. And that is the only chance which we have to force Emmerson Mnangagwa and Nelson Chamisa to go onto the table in the presence of SADC. The reason why we need that to happen is because we are going to get a binding solution of what's next. Once Mnangagwa puts his signature, SADC will then compel Mnangagwa by all means possible, because anenga assigna inenge ya agreement, which means that is the only protest which we need, which is very important. Ministerial SADC ministerial people, that one they won't be compelled by any protest, because no matter how you protest, you are not going to pressure them to do anything. So I think I have answered Sadaranaka. Thank you very much. Temba says, yes, the goat project is not feasible. How many goats for the nation or ZANU PF people, since they give these goats at partisan level? Yes, that is something very important. These goats are being distributed at partisan level, and Killer Zivhu does have a point there. Okay, Notando, thank you very much. How is South Africa? Glot, K. Hanzi, you should warn people with facts as how dangerous to the struggle Gambakwe is. I almost trusted him, but now from you. Okay. Glot, I think what we have said so far is very important. We need to give the people of Zimbabwe a chance to introspect, and then when we get to the future, a lot will fall into place and the people will see. But we will continue to tell the people of Zimbabwe the good story about what we need to do, about why there is importance for us to support Nelson Chamisa and ignore any other thing chiri kubuda out of order. What we need in Zimbabwe is the person who was elected in 2023. Nelson Chamisa was elected by the people, and that is what we want. So it is what it is, Team Zimbabwe. And Gideon, thank you very much. How are you? Thank you very much for coming. Eric Arati, thank you very much as well. Thank you very much for coming. So in conclusion, Team Zimbabwe, Killer Zivhu is questioning the GOAT schemes which are being implemented by Emmerson Mnangagwa, and I believe that this is something very important from somebody who is a ZANU PF person. And also, he's continuously making controversial statements because remember, Sevia Kasukwere is aimed to remove Emmerson Mnangagwa from ZANU PF. That is the discussion happening in ZANU PF at this point in time. Vanhu vari kuti ngatifambe naKasukwere, ndosaka muri kuona nyaya dzekunzi mofu to take over. That is the issue happening there in ZANU PF. Very interesting issues happening there. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. Let us meet in other episodes as well as other broadcasts. I hope that you had a very wonderful Sunday, and I hope that makomborerwa kumakereke nekumachechi ngatirambe tichinamata hama dzangu. Mwari vanotinzwa, Mwari vari kunzwa minamato. Change is coming to